Hello, my name is Omar, and I'm doing a presentation on real estate law for my law and ethics, business law and ethics class. Um, so let's get started. Um, I got real estate law, and for a real estate law, obviously, there's different laws, and one of them is the New Mexico Homestead Law. State homestead law can differ in limits they place on the acreage or value property to be designated as a homestead. This is a section of the New Mexico law, which would be a 42.10.9, this or that. It's practically saying your home or your land has to be so many acreage, and this is allowing you from losing their homes. It's like giving them an extra, can I say, it prevents from people losing their homes. So it's a law that was put in place where if they qualify, they could have so many other opportunities to be able to pay off their home or bills or whatever. And there's already, for example, there's a thing right here that says if there was a pre-existing line on the property before the establishment of homestead, if the homestead property was specifically pledged as a credit for a mortgage, if you owe past due taxes to the state of New Mexico and New Mexico continues to municipalities, or if you owe money to mechanics, contractors, or builders to work performed in repairing or improving the property. And my first slide. And another section is a New Mexico adverse possession law. And that goes to, as you can see right here, is a trespasser must openly inhabit and improve a property or even a small part for a determined amount of time to gain legal title of the property. New Mexico law requires an individual to occupy property for at least 10 years before ownership could change hands. And then there's again the code section where you can find this law. Could be different. Make sure you look the current laws and they're still up to date. Other things on here, it's pretty much saying like if I own 30,000 acres and my neighbor somehow gets and uses an acre of my land and I never know for so long, and he could actually own that part of my land because he improved it, he lived on it, and I never told him he couldn't, I never noticed it. So by law, legally, that is his land now. And then again, there's the excuse me, the code section. Let me see here. It's a fairly old legal doctrine that was designed to encourage landowners to make beneficial use of the land. Under most adverse possession laws, a trespasser must openly inhabit, like I said, for 10 years. Let me see here. In addition to the minimum time for occupation, there are 4 elements necessary for a legitimate claim for adverse possession. For example, sorry about that. There must be a hostile claim. The trespasser must either make an honest mistake, merely occupy the land, with or without knowledge that it is private property, or be aware of his or her trespassing. There must be actual possession. The trespasser must be physically present on the land, treating it as his or her own. There must be open or notorious possessions. The act of trespassing cannot be secret. And there must be exclusive continuous possession, and trespassers cannot share possession with others. There must be in possession of the land for an uninterrupted period of time. There's another slide. Security deposit return. Coming in for like rental homes, and it's talking about how much is an appropriate time for a landlord to return their security deposits to the rentee. Your security deposit return is governed by state law that define how long your landlord has to return it. Different states is different amount of time. That's, for example, as you can see, it's kind of a bulky PowerPoint, but it's all the states of all 50 states. 14 days. Alaska, Arizona, Hawaii, Nebraska, South Dakota, Vermont, Washington. 20 days. Delaware, Rhode Island. 21 days. California, Idaho, Minnesota. 30 days. Arkansas, Connecticut, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Massachusetts, Michigan, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, Wyoming. 1 month is Colorado, Georgia, Louisiana. 45 days. District of Columbia, Indiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Virginia. Another states, Alabama is 35 days. Florida is 15 to 60 days, depending on whether the tenant disputes a deduction. New York, a reasonable time. Oregon, 31 days. No deadline in Tennessee or West Virginia. So, simple saying, here in New Mexico, you have 30 days to return the deposit. New Mexico lease and rental agreement laws. New Mexico rental laws limit deposits to 1 month's rent if the lease is less than a year, and landlords are required to add interest on a deposit if it exceeds this amount. It's kind of the code section of legal law. It's unlawful discriminatory practice terms of lease holdovers converts to month-to-month tendency unless tenant pays weekly. Then a week-to-week deposit is the term is under 1 year. Then limit is 1 month rent. Interest on deposits required if landlord demands a deposit in excess of 1 month rent. Deposit must be returned within 30 days of termination or departure, whichever is later. Discrimination. No discrimination on basis of race, religion, color, national origin, ancestry, sex, or physical or mental handicap. Uniform Residential Landlord and Tenant Act adopted. So, okay. Here. So that's pretty much, it's protecting the rentee from living in hard condition. For example, like an example I found on this website, whether you rented a house to some rowdy Lobo undergrad or had troubles getting the heat fixed in your chilly Santa Fe apartment, you've probably wondered if knowing a bit more about landlord-tenant laws might have saved you from a few headaches. Pretty much saying like, I'm renting a home and they're July, August, hottest time of the year, and their AC goes out, and by law I am required to maintain it, and if they're not aware, they're not gonna get me in trouble. But if they do know their law and there's legal issues, I will pretty sure I'll be receiving a few citations, that's for sure. But it's pretty much protecting people who are renting a home or a mobile home or etc. that the landlords has to keep their living space livable and comfortable. Security deposit limits. Renters typically are required to pay a security deposit as a part of a lease agreement. Usually this amount is equal to 1 month's rent, but security deposit limits are established by state law. Most state security deposit laws are also specific a time limit in which landlord must return the deposit to a departing tenant, which we talked about earlier. Is just giving them so many times. Like we said, New Mexico has 30 days. So if you left the home or whatever you were living at in good conditions and the deposit should be returned, you should be expecting it between when you move out to 30 days later. But if not, of course, if you left damages or this or that, the landlord has a right to use your deposit, security deposit, to fix that, and then the remaining would be returned to the tenant. In conclusion, these are some of the real estate laws in the state of New Mexico. Hope this information was helpful to you guys, knowledgeable as it was for me. I learned a lot, and this was just a project for my class, and this was my IPP project. And here's my works cited. Thank you.